here with us on Overdrive. Now, Mahindra Thar has been extremely popular ever since it entered the Indian market in 2020. The brand has received over 80,000 bookings ever since its launch, and now the brand has decided that it's time to widen its appeal given that there is a lot of competition around the corner. So in comes the Mahindra Thar 2-wheel drive.
So far, the Mahindra Thar has been your only real choice in the mainstream segment if you wanted a car that fully drives home that outdoorsy lifestyle of yours. But that's set to change soon with the Maruti Suzuki Jimny right around the corner in India. So Mahindra have reacted to that already, and you now have this, the Mahindra Thar 2-wheel drive. It gets, of course, a 2-wheel drive powertrain and a smaller engine. So what is it really like? Let's find out. The Mahindra Thar has always been under 4 meters long. So with this new 1.5 litre motor now being fitted to it, the off-roader can claim the sub 4 meter tax benefits. This should further drive down the Thar's price, opening up a whole new section of buyers. This diesel engine is a 1.5 turbo borrowed from the Marazzo, which makes 117 PS and 300 Nm. This is paired only with a 6-speed manual. The petrol engine option remains the same 2-litre M Stallion motor with its 150 PS and 320 Nm, and this can still be had with the automatic. Now this engine might be quite a bit smaller than the big 2.2-litre diesel that you don't get with the 2-wheel drive Thar anymore. But it must be said that in terms of outputs, it's not that far behind. It's only 13 PS less, and it makes the same exact amount of torque, which means that you don't really miss that big M-Hawk engine all that much. Of course, what you do miss is that great, top-notch, really high level of refinement and drivability that that engine gave you. But the trade-off is not bad at all. Of course, this engine is slightly noisier and you can feel a few more vibrations, but it must be said that the clutch actually feels lighter in this. And as Mahindra claims, 55% of that 300 Nm of torque is made just over idle at 1000 RPM. Which means that in the city, where to be honest the Thar is really quite good as a city car considering how high you sit up and how easily you can see the edges of the car, it really does do a great job of just moving along in traffic. You can potter along it even in a high gear, it will keep holding revs. So yeah, there's always performance available to you. So in traffic it's not really an issue. And this good demeanor in urban conditions is actually helped by the fact that the clutch doesn't feel quite as heavy and as snappy as it did with the 2.2-litre diesel. The gearbox has changed, it's a different 6-speed manual now. And yeah, we would have liked maybe slightly shorter throws. This one feels a bit too much like, you know, a big old MPV, but not in a bad way because the shifts themselves are reasonably precise. They're just really long and you sort of row through them like this. But yeah, it sort of goes with the whole demeanor of the Thar as, you know, that big rough SUV 4x4. Another positive is the improved fuel economy. It's still not as good as a regular SUV, but we managed close to 10 kmpl in the city and 14 kmpl on the highway. You still get all-terrain tires, electronic brake rocking differential, ESP with rollover mitigation, hill hold and hill descent control. In any case, the Thar 2-wheel drive will go further and take more beating than most SUVs. So it'll still be great as a weekend machine or if you need to reach remote places often. Without the full safety net of 4x4 of course for those especially tricky situations. Now with the smaller, lighter engine in the front and with no 4x4, it has actually helped the Thar's, you know, handling character a little bit. Now the Thar was pretty decent with its highway manners, but it's now become a touch more alert, so you maybe don't sway and roll all that much as you used to before in the bigger Thar. But again, the changes are minimal. But other than that, the driving experience remains largely similar. So the only change on the inside of the Mahindra Thar 2-wheel drive is that the 4x4 shifter has now been replaced by a usefully large storage space. So you have a fairly wide and spacious cabin as before for the front passengers, although again the driver's footwell could have been less cramped. The Thar two-wheel drive can be had in both the AX optional and LX trim levels, so the features list remain unchanged as is the case with the safety credentials. The SUV also did quite well in a panic braking test, staying true to its line and feeling confident under heavy braking. So how do you spot the Thar two-wheel drive from the regular 4x4 version? To start with, these sections of the bumpers in the front and at the back, the middle sections are now black, they're body colored, not the silver ones that you find in the 4x4 versions. Then behind, at the rear quarter panel, there's no 4x4 logo anymore. And also on this side where you have the M-Hawk logo for the diesel, that's gone because now it's a CRDE engine that this one gets. The Mahindra Thar two-wheel drive seems to do the job it has set out to. It could have done with a more refined motor, but despite losing the 4x4 gear, this is still very much a Thar. It gives you that same sense of indestructibility and most of the rough road capability. The slightly better on-road dynamics and mileage are an added bonus.
With prices starting from 10 lakh rupees, the Mahindra Thar two-wheel drive certainly is a very attractive choice for someone who is interested in cruising the highways most of the time, but also likes a bit of adventure over the weekends. We'll take a very quick break here on the show, but coming up on the other side, we tell you all about the Moto Morini CMezzo 650cc motorcycle.